A palpable sense of trepidation emanated from the forest. During the day, it had felt off, a feeling of unease permeating the air, now bordering on dread. No one could stay here overnight. Impossible. Deep breath, in and out. Again. We had a job to do. Sounds of snapping branches and rocks splitting apart startled me. A chill went down my spine, long before anything broke out of the tree line. The Draugr came first, trailing gloom behind them like mist. Not with a slow shamble or a mad dash. They rushed for 5 or 6 steps, almost running, but then would stumble or fall. That didn't stop them, though. They would get back up and do it again, sometimes careening into each other and falling in a tangle. It would have been funny if they weren't so horrifying. Who they had been, I couldn't tell. The ones at the front were ancient, looking more like desiccated mummies and skeletons than rotting zombies. I advanced to intercept them, but Joshua held me back with a hand on my shoulder. "We're here for the big show, Jack. We can't affect those anyway." "All right, I'd wait. Be patient." Shiloh and the Heart moved in. The Hawk was still circling behind us. Rear guard? I looked up the hill to make sure our stone beehive was safe. "What happens to us if we get, hurt?" I wasn't sure what the term was for a spirit wound. "What happens to us here will be reflected in the flesh, and vice versa. If something gets to our bodies while we are here, it'll be over for us." That's kinda what I'd thought, and it wasn't reassuring to have it confirmed. Motivational? Absolutely. Shiloh was in the fight now, even faster than I would be with the heart rune maxed out. I could see the energy that the elemental, for lack of a better word, imparted to their body and limbs, adding speed and power, helping with rotation and recovery. They had already left a trail of crushed skulls behind them. Unfortunately, it would take more than that to stop the Draugr. Distracted by new foes, they overlooked the ones they had left for dead. They crawled up from behind to clutch at Shiloh's legs and waist with sharp, bony claws. A mad flurry of blows gave them a few inches, and they vaulted up and over them, landing closer to us. Shiloh approached them cautiously this time, not letting the Draugr get behind them. Watching, I learned that the trick to making a Draugr harmless, if not totally incapacitated, was to smash its skull, spine, arms, and legs. Back and forth, Shiloh lashed out, picking targets with care. They got hit a few times, but not often. Hopefully we'd run out of undead before they got exhausted. The Heart of the Deep reared up and dropped its front hooves on the Draugr. The roots would encircle them and constrict, turning them into nothing more than bone kindling. Its back hooves lashed out and slammed into the undead, launching them dozens of feet back. If they got back up, it wasn't with all their original body parts. All of that was tame compared to what it was doing with its antlers. Each side worked independently from the other, spearing the Draugr to the front and sides. Once skewered, it would lift them up and spread the points violently, showering the surrounding ground with countless fragments of bones. Even with that devastating destruction, more and more were coming. As I watched, one climbed to its back to tear at whatever twigs and branches it could grab. A shrill screech wailed through the night, alike to, but 1,000 times worse than nails on a chalkboard or a fork scraping on glass, with a hint of a dentist drill digging into my teeth. I felt it tug at me, wanting to draw me to it. I looked at Shiloh. They seemed as okay as you can be, surrounded by a sea of undead. A little slower, perhaps, but that might be fatigue setting in. It had only been a few minutes, but during a fight, that felt like an eternity. That horrible sound pierced through the night again as a darkness separated itself from the forest. I was watching for it this time, and Shiloh did falter. It didn't take them long to recover, barely a fraction of a second, but in a close fight, that could make the difference. The opening band was done. Now came the main event.